Whether you're a teen or 30-something, we see too much sucker shit going on in the world. Not enough of us are sharing the script to help us all do better for ourselves. Enjoy this unfiltered, no bullshit game about how to survive and thrive in your Black awesomeness. Come through, listen, and think with the Queen.
Hey, thank you for joining me,
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So I have to ask you because you're one of my friends, coach, all the things. What'd you think of the intro?
Yes. So apparently whatever happens in the background, I couldn't quite hear it. But one of the things that I do, because I am your coach and I am your friend, I am privy to know what your intro sounds like. And it's absolutely amazing. It is absolutely amazing. Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So I have, like I said, Coach Ish, my good friend here, joining me for this episode. And I feel like it's really fitting because I think that we were able to connect with each other because of our weirdness. I feel like we may have had these impressions about each other because we hadn't had any direct contact, and then when we finally did, it was like
you're like me.
Yes. Like, this is completely unexpected. Like,
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's our thing. It's our thing.
Yes. And that is why I wanted to do an episode about embracing your weirdness, because
yes.
I think that I think a lot of us are just getting to the point of being able to do that because they're finally acknowledging and accepting of traumas that have happened, and they're really like doing the healing to be able to embrace that weirdness and love it because it's the universe made it. Like, that is divine right there. And I think that we have to celebrate that. We really need to have those conversations and make sure that those who are in places where they feel like they can't talk about it, they can't embrace it, let them know that a time will come where you'll be free. You'll be able to, and there's people waiting for you.
So hopefully that time is the person that's watching this episode, right? So that they can know that. So there's this, I've learned to subscribe, here's my weird. First of all, I forgot that this was the episode. So it's like, yes, I get to be in my element and my zen. Because I like being able to be wholeheartedly myself and talk with my hands and be extra and not look at the motherfucking camera. You know what I'm saying? Just do all the things that I do. Where, sometimes I sing song, right? Like I will break out in song just because I'm talking. Is nothing. There's no song really. It's just me wanting to express my words in musical form. I'm a musical girl, right? What I've learned in finding myself is that we were really programmed to lose sight of ourselves, right? When you look at children who are in your normal societal schools and how, sit up straight, sit at the desk, stay still, put markers down. When a teacher says to move, you move. When a teacher says to stop, you stop. And when we're in it, it feels very normal. It feels very, everyone is doing it, right? I've been privileged to see that kind of activity in other systems, prison, military. Ooh, a little bit. Why would we want our children to move the way they move in prison? Why would we want our children to move the way they move in military? It's because it's easier to tell you what to do, and it's easier to tell you who you are versus you exploring and finding out who you are. So I'm learning to unsubscribe to the one day you'll get there and begin to subscribe to the no. Children are supposed to stay there. If you watch a child is absolutely positively weird in a beautiful way, right? They come out unapologetically themselves, and if their feelings are hurt, they cry. And in the next moment, when their feelings are no longer hurt, they're going off and they're playing with the same person who just hurt their feelings because they know that was just that moment. and it wasn't meant to carry on, right? But in adulthood, as we grow, we're taught to become mature and what maturity looks like, what certain things look like, what adults look like. Like there's this conversation I've been having about aging versus getting old. I no longer subscribe to the fact that I'm getting old. I subscribe to I'm aging. Everything ages. Yes. Right. I am definitely aging, honey. But like wine. You understand me?
Yeah.
You know, that's my weird girl too. You know, that's Sphinx. Hey, how you doing? Throw a shoulder for the girls. You know? Because like, why would I want to grow old? Why would I want to be perceived as old? So what happens in our minds when we're aging and we're thinking about the fact that we're going to grow old, we either get extra mature because this is what it looks like to be an adult, sit up straight. This is how I was in school. I was a good student, right? Or we're absolutely positively immature and doing things that do not serve us, right? So if you subscribe to different things, if we begin teaching our children now, you're going to always age, baby. You're getting older in age, like your age is going up, but you aren't old. You don't have to lose sight of who you are. You never have to fully subscribe to what society says is normal. You find your own norm. You find the things that make you tick. And being a parent of two now, almost one child is an adult, the other one is on his way to being an adult, getting the chance to watch how I did this with my children and it worked, where I allowed them to find them. You know, I help give direction, I help give guidance, but at the end of the day, they're going to be themselves. And either things that came from outside sources, you know, me and my husband, we did a great job at picking that out of them so that it doesn't stay within them, and reminding them that they're weird, reminding them that they're assholes, and they get it honest and wear it proudly. Be weird because that's what makes you unique, right? We're these individual people that are told to go into this group collective thought process. Or you know, or way of living. Thought process is one thing, but you know, this group collective way of life and how you must present. But you also tell me I'm an individual. Which one is it? So I believe that the more we embrace our weird, we find that it's not actually weird at all. It's creative. And that's the other thing I like about the word weird, because what I found is a correlation between the weird person and the heavily creative genius.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna let you ask questions now, child. You know I can go.
No, absolutely. I guess my next question for you would be, had you always been in a space where you could embrace your weird, or when was it that you were like, yeah, no, I'm gonna do me? Like, how was that for you, especially when you were young?
Funny part is, most people say I didn't embrace this until later on in life, and that's not true for me. My weird actually saved my life. I grew up very, very hard, very different than most. 80s baby, you know, project kid, but not just one project. Like when I tell people I am from Philadelphia, I mean that. I lived in every place in Philadelphia for the most part, every section that the city has. At one point in time, even if it was just for a moment, I lived there. Um, my first time going through first grade, I failed because I had went to so many schools that year they couldn't collect my records. So that's why I ended up failing first grade, not because I didn't know the information. So what I did growing up was use my weird and give space for my weird as my therapy. Because again, for me, weird is creative process. Weird is not being in a household that is the safest, maybe, or the most conducive for a child and their upbringing. So hiding in a closet and making my own books, or hiding under my bed and making stories, and escaping as much as possible mentally. So what I didn't do though was pay attention to the weirdness. I was bullied for my weird, made fun of for my weird, for my different. Um, I definitely probably nowadays, if I was going through my adolescent and teenage years now, I would be I would be in. I would be fully in with the blurs, you know, the black nerd community and the and all of that. But back in my time, that was called goth, and you were a devil worshiper if you wore all black. If you if you like anything outside of hip hop or rap, then you were, trying to be white. It was just always these stigmas around the places that I found comfort, the way that I wanted to dress. I didn't dress the way that I would have liked to dress because I already dealt with so much. So what those moments did was make me shield and shun my weirdness, right? And I was also a child. I was a parentified child, so I had responsibilities in regards to caring for and being there for other siblings throughout my life. So I had to mature early. And what happened was I had to leave childish things behind, right? And become, more mature because I was the helpful person and I was the this and I was the that and I was all of the things, so much so that I became the second mother in my household, like to the point where my siblings would call me mom. Like it was deep. So then I became a young mother. I got married at technically 18. A couple of days later, I turned 19. And by the age of 20, I had my first child. So life for me had to stay in this mature space. Now, I never really let go of my weird. I just didn't have time to really give space for it. I didn't have time to express it. I always had to make sure someone else was taken care of. A bill was paid, a this was that, being mature. And it was coming back from Afghanistan when everybody had to take care of me. Everybody in my household had to take care of me. My activities of daily living, or ADLs is what they call it in short, had drastically dropped. And they're still very low. Most people don't know that because I wear my vessel much better now. But when I came home from Afghanistan, I had bilateral hip, bilateral knee, 2 lower vertebrae injuries, or 2 injuries to my lower vertebrae, 2 injuries to the upper. PTSD, of course, because that's a given half the time, especially for people who already have come from trauma. Most people don't know that. But I came back with this like bucket list. Like I literally rotated my left hip out of place while I was over there, and my stubborn ass walked around for a month and a half, hiding the fact that my hip was out of place, or attempting to hide it. So when I came home, I had to sit down. And in the sitting down, I had to find my creative process, which is the weird, right? And that time frame in the last over a decade now, it's been since 2010, but I've been out of the military since 2012. And for the last 10 years, I've given space for not giving a fuck about how I express my weird to people and allowing my creative process, as you can see behind me, to just be and exude and come out. And what I found was other people who, were embracing their weird, but to me were just finding themselves and accepting who they were as children and finding like reclaiming that time, reclaiming that innocence of their youth that helped them, whether it was through whatever type of creative process. I believe that is the weird, that whatever you like to do creatively is considered weird to other people. And what I found was other people like yourself who were like, no, I'm weird too. I love the fact that you're openly weird. And it's like, yes, I'm a be me. You know what I mean? And I love interviews like this because I get to show pieces of it, right? Because I'm gonna maintain some of my weird. Let the people get used to me and whatnot. I don't want to spook them away too quick,
Yeah. Get them.
I'm like, reeling it, because you want to bring it all when we're around the others.
Yes.
The open-minded people, because another part of being weird is not judging.
Yeah.
I don't have space to judge you, sister or brother. I don't have space to judge you and what you're doing, because I understand that a judgment of someone else is nothing but a projection of my own shit.
And
right. So,
and people don't and I think, it's when people are in that moment of the judging, they don't realize, it's like,
yep.
You just become blind. Because of course, if you wouldn't be judging in the first place if you did realize you were doing that,
Yep.
or what it was.
Yeah.
And I think,
Because judgments happen internally, right? Like you see something, but the purpose of the judgment is for you to do the inner work. If you see something and it's like, oh, well, why are they doing it? Asking yourself internally, why do you care?
right. Or
And then
why do I
going down.
something's wrong with it?
But see, and this is the thing, you may find that it triggers you. Not may. You're going to find that it triggered something. It triggered something in your upbringing, in a way that you view life, or the beliefs that you hold, or whatever was placed in you, and you're seeing something that goes against that grain. Right? And it feels easier, and society has very much so normalized the fact of, oh, anybody that goes against the grain is weird. Anybody that goes against the grain, because weird is different. And it feels easier to most people's minds and to their daily activity to just go with the judgment. You know what I mean? And then that's when it comes out of your mouth, because it's one thing, we gonna think what we think up here, right? But what comes out of our mouths is when it becomes more of the problem, because it's no longer just you. It's no longer just you hoarding that thought. It is now you've shared that thought and you've made it a collective thought. And that, to me, is irresponsible.
Absolutely. It definitely is. One of the other things that I wanted to, do you think that making the decision to embrace your weird, do you feel like it's helped you heal from your injuries and, what you've gone through from your military action?
No, not as much as you would think. I feel like allowing myself to just deal with my trauma let me begin to heal, right? I never really not embraced my weird. I just hid it from the world.
Okay.
Like the world didn't embrace my weird. I did.
Okay.
Wholeheartedly. Because again, my weird saved my life throughout my childhood. It helped me make different decisions and different choices that my peers did not. Whether they understood me or not, it didn't matter. It really, it let me see the world in a way that if I hadn't embraced it younger and early on, I wouldn't have had the outcome of life I would have had. I wouldn't have joined the military. I wouldn't even have married my ex-husband. That would not have been a thing, because that went against all of the grains. I was still too young. I was supposed to be a certain, in college, finish college, I was on a certain trajectory. So I've always embraced my weird. I've always also recognized that the world was not ready for it. It was too much for everyone else, because my weird then made you question yourself. And that's one of the things that I've always recognized about me, but that's what I've learned how to embrace. I've learned how to embrace the fact that I trigger the world. Yeah, I like it. I've learned how to embrace that, and that has helped me with the trauma that I endured during my time in service, as well as my time in Afghanistan, but also beyond that, because I'm one of those people that's honest with my journey. Even though I am a veteran and all of those things, I also recognize the things that I endured prior to ever joining the military myself.
Okay. I think I hope that helps whoever watches this understand how the two, I feel like, coincide, like dealing with the trauma as well as embracing the weird, because I feel like it's almost like the reprogramming. Like, would you agree with
It
that?
is. That part, now that I definitely, especially if you haven't embraced it, right? Any aspect of yourself that you have yet to embrace, the moment you do, you only get to the place of embracing once you've accepted. To me, please hear that, right? This is from my experience. I'm not one of those people that this is how it is for everyone. No, I'm speaking from my own experiences. From my own experiences of the conversations I've had with people, from holding space to having support groups and all of the things. For me, it always seems as if the embracing happens once you, like, the embracing and the healing, or the beginning of it, is a simultaneous thing. right? Like they go hand in hand. I embrace a thing because I'm choosing to heal from this thing. I acknowledge this trigger. I'm choosing to heal from the trigger. Then I begin to, this allows me to begin, embracing who I truly am. To me, they go in one hand washes the other type of thing. So I fully agree that the more you embrace who you are, because again, what is weird outside of your uniqueness? Right? It is only weird to the other people because they are not you. That's it. We say these words and we forget them, that they have so much more meaning than what we actually give homage to and what we pay attention to, right? Like, so again, if weirdness is just who you are, this is how I made up. I'll sing a song, I don't care, right? That's who I am. This is because I am uniquely made. So you only get there when you deal with the things that kept you from realizing that you're this unique individual with your own tendencies, your own habits, your own way of speaking and doing things. Like, we can all have an accent, but the words that I choose are not going to be the words that you choose.
Right.
Right? Because you're going to choose the words that came from your legacy, from your lineage, from your experiences, from your beliefs. And I'm going to choose the words that come from mine. No matter which way we slice it, we are individual people. And instead of calling each other weird, just saying, hey, that's Janice. Or that's Ish. You know what I mean? And it being that versus, oh, that's weird. That's weird to you. And I've been, it's really interesting that the topic is weird, right? Because recently I had an encounter with some people that I hadn't met in person, but I had been able to converse with online. And recognizing cultural differences, because then the person isn't from somewhere massively far away, but just being raised and growing up in the United States is going to be a different experience than someone being raised in Great Britain or, Africa, a country in Africa, or, somewhere in South America. So again, even those things where we grow up in help to form who we are, that make us these weird individuals, right? Like, we're just unique. That's it. So embrace your I would definitely say, for anybody, for all the people that are listening to this, right? Make sure that you really do give space to embrace the traumas of your past, right? So that way you're not doomed to keep repeating cycles. The more you run from it, the more you're running with it. Like, I was privileged. They call me passionate PSA. I always get everybody's podcast stuff wrong. I swear, I be trying my best, y'all, with the shout outs. But when I say sis had some content up recently, and it was absolutely amazing because it was spot on. And it was this, this duet thing and everything like that. And it's this guy talking about buffalo. And he was saying how buffalo hate being rained on. And so over the years, because of how much they hate being rained on, they have learned how to pay attention to the clouds when the cast and storm is coming, so that they can run towards the storm. Because even if they get rained on, it's just for a moment, right? And the times that they don't, and they're running, because they had learned, when you run away from the storm, you're running with the storm. The storm follows you and you're rained on longer. And I was like, yo, I'm a buffalo, because I've always been that weird person. I see the storm, I see what's ahead of me, I see the ugliness, I see the traumas, I see whatever it is, and I run towards it. And I've always been that way. I run towards it because I know that's my shortest distance. If I run away from what's already hurt me, I'm sticking with the pain. I am making a conscious choice to run with what hurt me already, versus if I go to a head on. I have a piece that I'm looking forward to traveling. It's actually going to be 6 pieces in total, called Journey. And it is, the main one that I love is an oil painting that has my old uniform, my hair, and this it's a beautiful piece, and it looks like a soldier standing in parade rest walking towards the flame. And that's always, and I made that piece because that is who I am. That's what represents me. I will walk towards the flame with poise, right? And that's what allows me to be openly weird and not care about how I'm triggering the people, because I know my intent, right? I'm here to just be me. If being me makes you that uncomfortable, go deal with your shit.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I definitely hope that, no, I pray that everybody is building that feeling within them, to, I'm working on it myself. So
Every day I do. Yes. So
yeah.
that's the thing. It's not, that's the part, right? Because people hear somebody say that and they assume that, oh, they got it. No. Don't ever disrespect the journey. I work on it every moment of every day. You see how I ain't just say every day. I work on, because this thing is a moment by moment.
Mm-hmm.
What do we say? In a blink of an eye, you cannot be here. So I understand that this right now is a moment. And even now in this moment, I'm working on my shit. We all are. It's just the choice. That's the part that people get held up on. We can know what no longer serves us. We can know what hurt us that we need to be dealing with. We can be very aware of our triggers and we'll still run away from the storm.
Yeah.
Is that not insanity though?
It is. And I'm rereading the Four Agreements. I finally found it, girl. I finally found it. And the first part talks about the domestication, and it's just like, wow. And it just got me thinking even more about this episode leading up to this right now, is that, whenever I do choose to have a kid, how can I, like what, and it's just me because I'm an overthinker, future thinking, how can I make sure that I don't I don't subscribe to that domestication, like I want, if I could have my kid and not even get him a social security number, I would. Like,
yeah. Well, so, and that's the thing, right? Some of this domestication you may have to subscribe to, and that's a reality in it. But it's not, it's one thing to have to fall in line with a thing, and it's another thing to believe what you're falling in line with.
Yeah.
For example, when I served in the military, I knew what I was there for. I am no, thank me for my service, just because I did serve in war and all of that, appreciate it. But as far as, am I a patriot and I did this for my country, I did this for my children. Please be very clear. I did not go into the military with this thing of I'm here to fight for my country and fight for what's right. No, my back was up against the wall and I had to make a choice. I needed medical coverage and not piss poor portions of the coverage, because unfortunately when you leave the military, what you get access to when you are in is not what you have access to when you get out. And at that time my ex was already out, and what we had access to medical care wise was not the best for me. And I was a single mother at that time. My children were under his TRICARE, but I was the person who had to do the things with them. And what my son was going to be needing, what I had and how I could do it, I couldn't afford it. I couldn't, at that time, it was not a realistic goal for me. And it was go and get my real estate license, which, not going to talk about that, but, or join the military, and I chose to join the military for my children. I also witnessed a horrific car accident that helped me, because if I didn't make a decision and a choice in the moment, I would not have been here to even make a choice to have going into the military with my children, or for my children. So like when you're going into a system, I was aware what system I was heading into. My ex-husband was prior military and I was a spouse before I was ever in. So I knew very much so what I was heading into. So I had a plan. Right? That's a lot of times what we'll miss. We will know we're under these systems. We will know we're in these things. And it's like, break the system down, do this, do that. All of that's fine. However you want to flip it, cool. Whatever rocks your boat. But do you have a plan for you? while you're operating in the system, because just complaining about the system means nothing. I believe in, if you know you're in a system, have a plan for while you're in it. Neo used to travel in the Matrix all the time. He was well aware that he was in. Once he knew he was in the Matrix, he never unsaw it. So stop pretending you're a norm. If you recognize you're in the Matrix, go fly. Go do something great, but don't get upset. And I'm saying this to you because as a person who wants to be a parent, right? Not wanting your child in these systems, I understand, but don't allow that to be a thing that holds you from it too, because you want to make sure that you're so out of the system. That's not fair, because you could be holding yourself back from a thing. That's like, I believe in, as much as we unsubscribe to the things, make sure that you're maintaining balance per se,
No,
as much as possible.
You're absolutely right. And I said that, slightly being dramatic, but I swear, when stuff happens, it'd be making me think like, man, like where should I relocate to overseas? And then I think, oh yeah, they don't really like us over there in a lot of places either. So it's like,
so it depends, right? That's another thing that I've been privileged to see. Most people don't really care about the people that they're not around. It's just was fed through whatever, so
no, I for a long time I was researching different countries, and I decided, no, I'm gonna stay here. I need a HQ here in the United States, so I just need to figure out where that's gonna be.
You say, where is headquarters and where am I gonna be staying? Because this is the other part too, right? Here can be home and you can travel. You got big plans and big futures, so you know what I'm saying.
Yes. Okay, so I now this is a question that I ask all my guests.
Okay.
Throughout your life up until this point, what has been the one universal truth, that like piece of wisdom that you've received that has stood the test of time even to today, and who gave it to you?
My grandma, Emily Ann Harris, and she told me, don't run after the one you want. You always pay attention to the one who wants you. Yeah. Okay. That was how I knew my husband was my person.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm trying to think. What so since we're talking about weird, what do you have a weirdness that you're willing to share?
Oh, all of them. Yes, I have a bunch of weird, quirky things. I will break out into a character. My favorite weird thing to do is to commentate animals and babies. They're fun. Yes. You ever watch a bird fight? Like, I'll give them different voices, and then I'll commentate like how they're fighting and what they're saying to each other, right? Or if like a baby is with their mom, I will speak for the baby because I'm an interpreter, and I help the baby, mama understand the baby. But if I'm not near the person, then I just make up voices for the baby and however they cussing at the parent, So that's that's fine. That is my favorite thing to do. And not just babies, but like little kids that ain't quite talking, because they're funny. Have you ever really like watched animals and children? They're hilarious. Like, they are my constant reminders of, yes, I'm supposed to pay attention and be focused and be dedicated and persevere and stay consistent and all of those things. But I'm also not supposed to take this thing called life so serious that I don't live. Right? So commentating them is amazing. It is my favorite pastime. I actually realized recently, I was like, I would do voiceovers, and I probably make really good, because like I can like throw my voice and stuff like that a little bit and with the things. So that's my favorite weird thing to do.
Okay. I'm gonna, man, my weird thing is I have there's me, there's my husband, and then there's Cookie. Now, Cookie is a 1998 Tickle Me Cookie Monster.
Oh, that's so cute.
His voice box has since been removed. My great grandmother actually like took it out of him because it would go off in the night when I was sleeping with him, and she was like, "No, not at all." So, but I knew that I knew my husband was like my best friend because he immediately accepted Cookie when we met.
Aww.
And the thing is like he's gone through, 98, 2002, right? And I mean, he has a whole backstory. Like, he's from Mexico.
Okay.
Like, he's been through, he told me about the real streets of Sesame Street. Like,
I know that's right.
You know, he told me who's really with the shits, who's not, you know, gave me he got all the knowledge. So, but yeah, it was, and I've had friends, like I had a friend that came to my dorm room once and they thought it was funny to like hide him somewhere in my room.
Don't do that.
When I tell you I lost my shit in there, and they were like, damn, like, hold on, let me get it for you. Like, because they, of course, you know, they hadn't seen that, but it was just the fact that, like, to this day, like, me and him have talked, like, we would have to have a custody agreement. Like, it would really have to be like, because he's like attached to him. Like he couldn't.
He said that's his Cookie too.
Yeah, like we're a throuple. So
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. I had an Alicia doll, a Cabbage Patch doll that I got in 84, 85, something like that. And I got the doll when I was like 4 or 5 years old, and I kept it. I gifted it to my little sister, and it was supposed to be for my daughter when I had a child. The first daughter I had, she was going to get my Alicia doll. My little sister had the doll. When I had my daughter, I tried to get my doll back from my little sister. I had to let her mature a little bit first because she was not here for it. I did not know that was going to be an issue. Like, my sister was like, where do you think you taking Alicia? And I'm like, oh, I'm giving it to Taisha. She's like, I have nothing to do with that. You clearly need to get a new doll for your daughter because you gave this one to me. And I'm like, oh, snap. This is real. Okay, cool. But then I realized that, like, I was feeling away because, like, I'm like, first of all, Alicia is my daughter. This is my baby. This was my first daughter. And eventually I ended up giving it. I was able to get the doll back, and I got it for my daughter. Going somewhere with this. My daughter's going through preteens, and whatever happened, she cut the doll up. And when I say... and something happened, like the inside of her got ripped, and she was always kind of ripped because she from 80s, right? She was I was trying to keep her as a family heirloom, but like something happened, and
because they used to have the cloth bodies, the cloth
bodies, hard head, with the hard head, and I had the bald headed one, and she was so cute. She had these dimples and brown little baby. It was my first brown. I only had one doll baby. I didn't like dolls coming up much. I wanted trucks. I would get a bunch of, in my earlier years, I had a bunch of dolls and stuffed animals. I love stuffed animals. That is my other thing. Like, I am a big bear girl, right? Like, I'm looking forward to the big house just so that I can get like one massively large teddy bear that I can just, when I want cuddles, I'm going to go sit in my bear and get cuddles.
Yes, I love that.
Right? Like a big beanbag bear. So when you sit in the middle, it goes, oof. You just
you want to sleep.
Yeah, I'm gonna sleep on my bear and everything, and better not nobody touch my bear. So yes, I dig it with because when we had to put Alicia to sleep, because you know we had to have I had a whole little mini funeral in my mind. I don't think we did it in real life, but that's not the point. I did do it in my mind. In my mind, we had a funeral. In my mind, I laid her to rest. In my mind, I said my final words over my baby, and you know. She went on to do great things for. So I overstand you. Trust me.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, I don't know if people may know this, but I like video. I'm a gamer.
I think so. That's the thing. You come off gamer though. You come off game like, no, seriously. It's like, so this is the thing about when you embrace your stuff, you can see other people's things that they may think is hidden, but it's not really hidden. Like, stop it. You come off gamer, anime playing, cosplay, female. Like, that is what you give me. You give me all of those vibes. Like, you could do a sexy cosplay, but you also could do like, oh, okay, she went all the way there with like Jack the Ripper or something. Like, you give me like, I'm here for the shits. Like, if you play and cosplay as Halo, you're coming in one of the gears, and you know, like, people won't even know it's a chick. Like, that's the vibe you give me.
Oh, okay. I haven't done cosplay yet. But
Is the
I
key
think
word.
that it comes from my mom was a Trekkie. So when I was little, yes.
Same. My mother was a Trekkie too.
Yes. And so when I was little, I didn't do the normal Disney, Winnie the Pooh, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, no, we were watching sci-fi movies, horror, like that's, you know, aliens, like those types, like aliens scared me. Freddy, Jason, none of them scared me. Alien did, because it looked like a giant bug. Like I was afraid of bugs. So, you know, that really tripped me out.
Maybe I'm different, child. None of them scared me. I found it fascinating because I was like, so basically, if they come in and they try to eat me, I could kill the alien. But if they come in, I gotta listen, because you know you had all the different alien movies. You had the movie with the look and come and get you. But then they started making the alien movies where the aliens was nice. And I'm like, those the kind of aliens. And then if you was a Trekkie, basically it was all aliens. It's an intergalactic freaking like they're all
you part of the UN. It's like, hey, come all, come one all, you know, like
that was unity, right? Like,
yes, absolutely.
I love Star Trek.
So I think that and then I started gaming. So like I'm one of those that don't have a mic. I don't need a mic. I need to make sure it's muted, because I've gotten into it with 12-year-olds, like in Call of Duty matches, like they talking shit, and I'm like, your mom should have swallowed, like it really goes down, because you know people get crazy when they behind the screens. You already know.
They do. So that's the thing where I knew I almost was a gamer. Right? I came back from Afghanistan with seizure disorder. That's the other main thing. I have a seizure disorder, and I can't do any games now.
Yeah.
And my last game was Halo. That was my. I used to. I would pop.
You were an Xbox?
No, I was a PlayStation.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
I was a PlayStation, but I was a gamer. So I was a computer game. I played Doom. I gamed. But little you hear it. You hear it.
I used to play Doom and listen to Usher's My Way, the whole album. I'm telling you, on PC, on the computer.
And it was because it was a PC game, that little fucking fireball game. Like I still play certain games, but I play games that don't have flickering, no strobing, things like that on my phone. And so my games now are like Sudoku and that numbery Sudoku type joints, like those types of things. Or word games. Dang it, I forgot what I was about to say, child, because it was good. It was good in there.
About Halo. And we were talking.
Oh, I would have been a gamer. Thank you. But my favorite part of gaming was talking shit. So like I worked at Dave and Buster's, that much of a gamer. Okay, I was in the winner circle. I would help beta test their like I was a gamer in that regard, like arcade kind of kid. So when my son and my husband plays, what I do is like, if I can hear the people, I talk shit on their behalf, so I get kicked out. So they kicked me out from, because I don't look at the TV. I don't know what's going on because I'm not allowed to watch it. I just can hear. And I'm like, tell him no pussy bitch. He's like, Mom. But it's so funny because like my son used to hate when I would do that when he was younger. Now, when I say I don't have to, I get a kick out of listening to him talk trash to whoever. It is my favorite pastime because I'm like, that's my boy. That's my baby.
I taught him well.
so well. Okay. And you won't know if you actually got under his skin because he gives the fire so quick you can't tell if you've actually, because sometimes I'll come in and I'm like, you are? He's like, yeah, mama, fine. I'm like, bro, you was so hype. I thought you was about to break something. He's like, no, I'm just getting in his head. Okay, cool. Because you got in mind, it worked. Okay, for the person not playing you absolutely great. You did amazing. All right, that's my boy. That's my son. And my daughter talks as much shit as us. Like when I say I am proud of that aspect of my children, they can fend for themselves. You understand me? I did a good job.
Yeah. And it's because of that weirdness. Like
that's it.
We're
They tell me. We say we're a weird family.
Yes. And it's so awesome. Like people don't, I don't know. I just wish more people would not only embrace their own, but like, find a common within your, within your family, within, so that way, you can just, I don't know, if it's like team, not even like it's
no, it
like
is team building. So like
this,
so I'm gonna give you an example of why that's important, right? But remember what we said, in order to embrace the weird, you have to embrace your trauma. So like my family, one day me and my husband, we went out the door, we went to go run somewhere. We come back in the house and our kids are in our room, which is the hangout spot half the time. If you're not in the living room, we in my room. I love that, right? Like that is a blessing. And we come in our room and they're gathered in the room talking about everybody's toxic traits. That is what I came home to. Exactly. You see how you just said, oh, wow. Yes, that's what our children were discussing, are the toxic traits of one another. And what we did was shared what we see from the other as the toxic trait. We first examined and gave space for all of us to be accountable. And everybody in the room, one by one, started sharing with their toxic traits. It was so funny because we're water and earth in my house. All the girls are water signs. All the boys are earth signs. We have all 3 earth signs in my home. And we have Scorpio, Cancer, water signs in my home. So all the earth signs, their toxic traits were very similar. It was like, oh, this is interesting. So it was like such a great experiment in house. So when you're talking about being, a weird family, that means having very hard conversations and being able to be a family that knows what accountability looks like from an individual level, but also a home collective, right? If you can tell me about me, but I can't tell you about you, we're not family.
Absolutely.
Right? I have to be able to tell you about yourself the same way you should be able to come tell me about myself. Not that you won't trigger me, not that your words may not hurt my feelings, because they may. But if I know your intent always is never to bring hurt or harm to me, that's not your intent, and you know my intent is never to bring hurt or harm to you, then I should be able to come and tell you something that may hurt your feelings for a moment, but it's going to later on help us down the line to be closer. And so having those kind of conversations, talking about toxic traits, talking about the things about ourselves, like when we sit as a family, we for real sit and hold space as a family. We have very uncomfortable conversations as a family. I'm not a fan of, we got elephants and, we sweeping shit under the rug. I don't do that in my house. I don't like it because I recognize it brings me stress. And for me, stress actually equals seizures. And so why, right? Especially if it's something that's going to set us all free. Because if it brings me stress, it brings everybody else stress too. And so let's talk about the things that we need to discuss. And then guess what we are? A weird family together. Like, and we really are. The baby came out weird. I fucking love it. Like my grandchild is the most unique little person, and I absolutely love it.
That's wonderful. And while you were saying that, it also it pinged to me that when you are able to do that, and that means that your family is a safe space.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of sometimes that's not able to happen because that is not a safe space. And I think that is a testament to you being able to create that safe space in your family. That is so awesome, especially if you didn't have that safe space when you were a child and now you have been able to recreate it. Man, damn, like, you're awesome. Like, it's so fucking awesome. Like,
listen, I understand my responsibility as the woman of this household. Right? I understand I'm the queen of my home. I act accordingly.
Yeah. And that's what queens do.
You know what? I love the fact that you said, bitch, let me sit up a little bit.
I mean, look at the name, I mean.
I say you see it, crown on, keep it, it's always adjusted. And you know what I'm saying? Even if it's tilted, I meant it to be. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But no, for real, I recognize I started really paying attention through therapy, through doing the work. I wasn't the person, no matter what group they put me in. Again, I went from being a very active person. I was in a freaking motorcycle club. I rode bikes. I lived, bro. I promise you I'm not like most, okay? And to be sat down the way I was sat down, I had a wheelchair. They wanted me to have a walker. I refused it. So I walked with 2 canes. I understand my responsibility as the queen of my home. That's where I'm coming from. Not did I cook, did I clean, but did I give space for my emotional state? Did I give space for my emotional space, traumas? Did I give space and did I give an example of, and do I give an example of what that will look like? Understanding my responsibility as the queen of this house. No, it ain't just about a cooking and cleaning. Like I said, it's not just about, did I wash your clothes and did I cook dinner for everyone? You know what I mean? It is very much more about, am I emotionally sound? Am I present? Do my family feel my frustration and my depression, or do they feel my love and my support? Right? Where am I leading from emotionally? Because there is a ripple effect. It is really a ripple effect. And that to me is a part of what our homes miss. I have a theory, and I'm in there because I know we getting ready to do the things and part ways and stuff. But I have this theory. I know in our society, we grew up hearing deadbeat dads destroy your life, and not having a father around will make the life harder for you. And I experienced life and I went through life and I moved about life. And then I started healing from giving myself space for some of the traumas of my past and giving space for the things that I never allowed myself to deal with. And then I found that maternal madness is what ruins the life of a child. It is not the father. It is when mom does not give space to deal with her traumas, to deal with herself, to deal with her things, her demons, her insecurities. She unintentionally and sometimes unfortunately intentionally projects that at her children. That then becomes the language and the verbiage and the reels that they put in here. So, and that's outside of any physical, mental, or emotional abuse. That is just the reality. So there's a lot of people that have insecurities and things like that they want to believe that may came from their father, but it actually may have just come from your mother. And I say that because I've watched people who, as their mothers healed, so did they. You know what I mean? I have friends who statistically, their fathers were absent, their moms didn't have it like that. They grew up hard, but the one thing their mothers had was a great emotional state or knowing how to at least give space and to not project. And their beginnings were absolutely horrific in ways, but mom's ability to keep a sound mental state enough, right, and not project her hurts at her children may allow these children who should statistically be this, that, and the third not be, because they had the support and love of their mother, and they continue support and love of their mother, even if dad was absent. And I've also watched, even from my own experience, if mom does not do what she needs to do for her the way she should, or if she doesn't do what she needs to do for her, the rippling effect on her children and on her household can be very much so detrimental. So again, that when I say I recognize my responsibility as the queen in my home, I make sure that, you know, I'm very mindful, right? Because to me, with great responsibility, with great power,
Comes great responsibility.
and I don't believe that. I believe that with great sacrifice comes great power, and it is your responsibility to yield that power, you know, well, right? Like that's what I believe, because that's what life has taught me, is that those who have real power, they've sacrificed more than you could ever imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And they were responsible with that. So I'm responsible with my crown as a queen. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. I'm trying to get. Just the thought of being a parent is still, you know, I'm still working my way up to that. But every time I talk to a mom, every time I talk to a dad, and I get insight on what their experiences, it helps me heal a little bit more from what, you know, I may or may not have received or should have received when I was, you know, it helps. It helps with the healing. And I think it's gonna, when I recall all this wisdom that I get, especially from people like you, people I trust, people I see the results, you know, I definitely think it's gonna help me be you know, a cool parent, you know.
Yeah,
Still
it
weird,
is.
you know, but you know, so okay, last question, and then we'll head on out of here because I know you're a busy lady.
First of all, don't be cussing at me. I'm productive, honey. I ain't never busy.
Oh, okay, productive. My bad. My bad. I'm
Okay.
working on the vocab. Um, so this is the another question I ask all my guests,
Okay.
and I want to know your top 7 favorites. So I'm going to ask you what your favorite is in 7 different categories.
Okay.
And yeah, okay.
All right, come on, I'm ready.
Okay. Favorite attribute about yourself?
My mind.
Favorite food?
Cake.
What kind of cake?
Any cake. I like cake.
Okay. Favorite art form?
That one's hard. That one's hard because I'm a creative. So I'm learning I don't have a favorite art form. Art is my favorite form, if that makes sense.
Okay. Okay. Favorite characteristic in your partner?
Oh man. How he loves me.
Okay. Favorite movie?
These is harder than you think because I'm that person. I don't have one of anything, but I know The Color Purple.
Okay. Okay. Favorite self-care activity?
Ooh, singing in the shower.
Okay. Okay. And lastly, favorite artist and or genre?
Anderson .Paak.
Okay.
I could groove to him. I look forward to singing with him one day.
Okay. All
hmm
right. Ashay. Yes.
I say.
All right. So I I've been running, telling people how to follow you, how to get your stuff.
I
Uh
kind of think that I want to do something real quick. Please
yeah.
don't. It's okay. All right. Just hear that first. But follow me on Instagram at Mrs. Bellamy, MRSBELLAMY.
Hold on, let me
I'm
let me
gonna have to change my name to Aisha Coach Bellamy. Fuck with y'all, because everybody does that. They be like, "You Coach Bellamy," so that's your name on Instagram. And I'm like, "Yo, I wasn't Coach Bellamy first. Y'all made me Coach Bellamy because y'all kept calling me Coach. So I'm like, let me just put that in my name somewhere because that's what everybody called me,
Okay, so you said it's at Miss Bellamy.
Mrs. Bellamy, MRS Bellamy. Yep.
All right. Okay. My bad.
No,
Uh,
I didn't even want you to change it, child. So that's the thing,
still,
right?
they need to
Sometimes
get it. They gonna
you
get both
said y'all
of them.
gonna get this. She said, make sure you follow me and make sure you follow her too. Oh my goodness. Make sure y'all if you're watching this episode, don't just watch this one. Go watch all of them. Run
Yeah.
them numbers up. I'm telling you, her the conversations are amazing. The content is dope. And she's just a phenomenal person. So I'm really, thank you for having me, for real, sis. Like, Queen, I appreciate it. Queen Doja.
Yes, thank you so much. And I'm gonna put all the links in the description. So because you have a book, you have
yes, before I was getting ready to say, let me shout that out real quick, because this
yes.
is this gonna be on repeat. So, phase 1 complete. This is the journey of healing. It is my coming out story. This is actually my second publication. The first publication of phase 1 complete was a catalog, and it gave snippets of where I was at that time in 2018 during my first opening show. I had my debut art show in 2018. And this book is the evolution of that. You get more of me, more words, but you're also going to get more content from my artwork and things like that. So I'm really excited. I'm excited for 2023. I'm excited for this book, because once this book comes out, this is going to be the first of many. And the first of many that will be published by Soul Publishing, which is the publishing company I started on behalf of my granddaughter. So I'm starting her off right. You know what I mean? That legacy. Yeah.
Yes. And as she said earlier, you're a creative coach. So I definitely want to share that information as well. And she's also has her own podcast. Crazy is my trigger word.
Yeah.
So click the link.
Go check it out.
Can get access to everything. Get the merch, the podcast, the coaching, the book, get it all, just so you have.
And stay tuned, because I got more coming. Oh, trust me. Y'all said, let's have all of you. Okay.
Yes. So, hey, ready or not, it's coming. So, all right. Well, again, thank you so much for your time. And to everybody that's watching this, stay awesome, blessed, and always on script.
That's enough game for now. Follow Queen Doja on Facebook and Instagram at The Script Podcast, online at thescriptpodcast.com, and YouTube at rebrandly/thescriptpodcast.com. Stay awesome, blessed, and always on script.